Good morning. It's 3:50 a.m. in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California. I wake up early for you fucks. You see this shit? Yeah. This is a little bit of a different podcast than normal. At the time we recorded this, Geoff and I were both going through a lot. I had just flown to do a gig in Tampa, and then flown back to LA, and then about 7 hours later, flew up to Seattle to say goodbye to my mom, who was passing. Her health has gone downhill a lot, and all the signs were pointing that way. And then I flew back to LA to do the podcast for you guys. Redding's going through this exact same thing, essentially. And I don't know if you've had to deal with the loss of a parent, but it's weird. It's interesting. No matter how ready for it you think you are, it's still interesting. So we don't actually read the Bible in this one. This is two best buds talking through some shit in their lives. That's really what this is. We do read the Bible in the next one. We're much more Bible focused from here on out in the podcast. But right now, this is us just dealing with death. So strap in. Welcome. It's Don't Stop Bereaving.
Dude, what the fuck have we been up to the last fucking week?
Dude, I already have a title for this podcast.
Wait. You're home.
Yeah, I'm back. I got back to do the podcast with you.
I thought we were gonna hold on. Hold on. I gotta. You know what you learn when you use in-ears a lot?
What's that?
Your earwax genes and machines are working full time.
Yeah, you
gotta, all day, every day. That's my motto, Marty.
Yeah, you got to get some good habits put in place to, right? You still working on something over there?
Yeah.
Take your time. Take your time.
And we're totally recording, aren't we?
Yeah. Who cares?
Good.
This is what we do. I'm smoking weed.
Good stuff.
This is how they know it's real.
Right. I thought they were just machines, but then I saw him cleaning out his ear holes.
It was obviously a deep fake. Obviously a fucking deep fake.
A couple of bots. There are a couple bots, I could tell. Right.
Yeah, man. We've had I haven't slept in 2 weeks.
I can't believe you're home. I thought we were going to be doing it from like my backyard or your backyard or a couple of libraries in Maple Valley or something.
Yeah, something like that. I was hoping too, but no. So we did that gig for the cancer kids for raising money for kids with cancer.
What's that?
So my buddy Kyle, it's actually this fucking amazing story. So he was in the second band I ever got in, and he was like, he's a really talented piano player, songwriter, singer, just
pianist.
Yeah. You'd be mad. Everyone's mad at him. He's like better than everyone at everything. One of those guys.
I don't like him.
Yeah,
I'm unimpressed. I'm unimpressed by greatness, Leif.
I know, it's so weird.
You should know that about me by now.
He does it all the time with this too, and so he has an amazing wife. They've been together forever. They have a kid, and I can't remember how old, maybe like 7. Their son named Ezra diagnosed this really, really rare form of cancer called neuroblastoma.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and he ended up passing from it, and
oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I already said I don't like him, so thanks for the long story where I get to diss this guy.
It's so funny because he's had a pretty hard fucking go of it, this guy. He's amazing, brilliant. But so...
Your age?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And through the process of all this, he discovered that basically this cancer is like curable.
is curable.
Yeah. It's just really expensive, like really expensive. And so for 9 years now, he full time just raises money for kids with these disease, and he gets them set up with all the treatments and doctors they need and the support the family needs. And it's a lot. I can't remember. I don't want to quote wrong numbers. It's a lot to keep him on the treatment, but he's also really like fucking fun to be around and amazing. So what he does is he like gets all his famous people. I don't know how he knows all these people or gets them there. It's usually like the Craig Robinson from The Office. Do you know that guy from Pineapple Express?
Which one was he?
He's the black dude that can sing, and he's like bigger.
He was in The Office.
So.
No, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He's the office. He's the warehouse manager.
Dude, he's so so they're like, who wants to see Craig Robinson sing "Smells Like Teen Spirit"? And it's like an auction, so it's like they get the money up for the different celebrities, and they have, they have auctions. They raise all this money for kids with cancer. They raised $450,000 when we were down there in Tampa.
How many kids will that treat?
Quite a few.
One.
I mean, I know. I feel like they over time now. I mean that's just one benefit they do. They got a documentary coming out. A guy ran across the entire United States, did a marathon a day, 6 days a week for X amount of months. Save these kids, and held up pictures, told stories. It's such a tear jerker. Like, it's, especially if you have kids, you're just like fucking bawling. So that was like, it's rough, man. And the fact that Kyle's been doing this for 9 years now and raising, he's on Good Morning America sometimes. He's got senator friends, and it's pretty funny that me still like his weird band friend shows up.
And Leif from Maple Valley.
Yeah. I'm a little bit too TMI, I guess you could say, right? There's not many filters.
You are? You're I'm
TMI? Always too TMI. I grew up in the woods. I don't hold anything back. I just, I don't know about strategy.
Right.
Like,
there's no politics.
No. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm experiencing in this bitch,
That's fair enough.
Life. Yeah, that
so you were part of it. Is like there's like a backup band, and then people get up. Is it sort of like Rock-a-Rocky?
He hires Rock-a-Rocky.
Oh, he does. Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's just Rock-a-Rocky, and we fly out there, and
Was George there?
Mm-hmm. George played drums this time. He's
nice.
Done that in years. Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to tell him to put my name on the list, but if it's George's gig, it's probably going to be George.
They kind of like, that's the thing. They like, it's kind of like the funnest gig of the year every year, even though it's not. But
Florida is it's a long flight from anywhere.
Dog, right? And it's weird. Like, dude, like, man, I still got the stoned eyes.
That's not your eyes. It's not your eyes' fault.
Dude, it's my soul right now. Yeah, that's so like, I'm lucky I edited all those podcasts on the flight there and back because right when I get here, I get a message from my sisters that my mom's going downhill. So I get home about midnight Saturday night and then realize that I don't have enough time to actually edit the podcast and like do the intro that I usually do, right? And like get it up because I got to go back to the airport in like 6 hours. So I stayed up all night doing that intro and like I edited it all, got it up, got to the airport, met my brother and my dad. He didn't even know what was going on with mom. And we raced and I basically sat next to my mom playing. She wanted to hear a lot of Christmas songs. I just played a lot of Christmas songs on the guitar. So yeah. Now I'm back because we're fucking committed.
Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah. We didn't do one from. What was that?
Well, that's what remember last week we didn't do one because you were going through essentially the same thing.
So I get a call on. Well, I was sure that when my phone call came, it wasn't that it was going down, is that it was over. Like I was, like my sister. I think she called and she's like, "Oh, mom just called and dad is." They were at a concert in Walla Walla, and she went up front because she couldn't hear well enough, and he went to the bathroom and called 911 on himself because he was feeling tightness in his chest. And she comes back to the blanket, he's not there, and she calls him, and going to the hospital. You might want to meet me over there.
Shit.
He had 3 stents put in that night.
Oh man.
And then 2 days later, he's home. And then I think my brother went out there, and he went home, and I went out there. It was a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was. And then the day we left, the next morning, one of the stents gets clogged, and he has another heart attack. Clotted. One of the stents clots. He has another heart attack. So my sister goes back out there, and then
Christ.
as she was, I can't remember if she left or if she stuck around, but then the following one of the mornings, he wakes up and he's just not feeling. He's like, He'd had congestive heart failure. So my sister came home and I went back out there, and this whole time I've got this, whatever thing I'm dealing with, whatever. It's it's small change in comparison, but it's still like, daily pain. But yeah. And then you call and you're like, I got to go to Seattle because my mom and your dad are having their way with us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's been hard to come up with names for podcasts, right? Like for the episodes. But I was flying back after I had finally contacted you, or it must have been flying up there. And I totally got the name for this one.
Yeah.
It's Don't Stop Bereaving. Bereaving.
Yeah.
That's just it. It's just like, we're in this weird phase of life where our parents, my mom, younger than most, unfortunately, are just passing, and it's like, it's been happening.
Did your mom pass?
No, she is now escalating it up to this different. She's going to stop dialysis.
Right. That's what I thought was happening when you came out.
Yeah, that's
had she already.
No, it's been rough. So what happened was my brother, he owns a bar in Wisconsin. He's a crazy entrepreneur, so he's always busy. And then my little family, we're going to come up at the end of the month here for a show of one of my favorite bands, and just spend a couple of days with mom. We don't know how long she's going to make it. It's been pretty rough for a lot of years here, actually. But when I was in Tampa, I got the text that was like maybe not a possibility. Like she might not make it that long. She's like stopped going to church. So for people who know my mom, that's like she's done. She's ready to go.
Throwing in the towel.
We've always sat in the front row of church every day, every Sunday.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So, it was my brother and I just kind of absolutely went up there, and luckily I was able to. Kate was with me on the gig in Tampa, which was fucking rad. So I was able to have a breakdown. That's cool. So I could get it out of the way there, and then because when it's so strange that when you have a family dynamic of any sort, it seems to like when tragedy strikes or when like the heavy parts come, everyone reverts back to when you were like a kid.
Yeah, their safe place, or whatever. I mean, not really necessarily their safe place, but where what's familiar, what the group dynamic.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, and like, I did not expect my siblings to be so, hurt.
Hurt?
And, yeah, just sad, obviously. But, there's just details of it that you leave out when you're trying to run the scenario in your head and prepare and try to be there just to let people cry and stuff,
Yeah, so it's interesting because my dad is 85.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not, 82 is the life expectancy for an American male. So he's already done better than anyone ever thought he would. He's not a physically fit guy. He's not a big fat dude, but he's not a big, he's not, he's not overweight. Well, I don't know. He's 85,
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I don't know that we ever had a family dynamic. It was like we were all just trying to get out of the house as soon as we could, and my sister was, I don't know. Yeah. So so we're the one that's being created is super interesting. And
oh, wow. Yeah.
like yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how much to go into it because it's pretty private, you know? And I don't know if that's, I mean, I'm sure it would make lovely and amazing content, but
Yeah,
to make it that seems a little wonky.
be whatever, you know. You can take that as far as you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to take it any farther than that if you don't want.
Well, suffice to say that you know, I've always been a little bit of a thorn in my parents' side. to borrow an analogy that you know, hits close to home for our little dog and pony show here.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said whatever it was that was on my mind, and I, you know, it's like, in, you know, for diehard Catholics, which my dad certainly is, you know, I didn't let up on the rape charges and the molestation charges for a long time. I finally just wore it out. I got bored with him not having a response to it, you know?
Yeah.
That's what kept me from doing it, not his, like, you know, not his reaction. But so, you know, and so this last time I went out there was the first time I'd ever go. They retired to Walla Walla about 15 years ago. And I've never gone out there by myself.
Oh, wow.
It's always been to take my son out there to make sure he has a relationship with them, or take the family out there, or if there's, you know, and this was the first time that the three of us had been alone for any, you know, period of time since probably we lived together.
Wow.
And even with all this trauma and all this, you know, like maybe bringing us together, it turns out I got up there. Turns out I can keep it together for about 3 meals in a row. They can stand me for just about almost all the way through 3 meals.
That's pretty good, though, if you think about it.
I got out there on
strategic times like that.
I got out there on a Saturday. I got out there on Friday. Friday night I get out there and we have dinner Friday night, happy hour, because their whole life revolves around their martinis at 3:30.
Okay.
Which for a long time I didn't understand, and now that I'm a more mature adult, I'm like, oh, this is great.
That's actually, waiting that long is beautiful. Like, that seems like,
3:30 p.m.
Yeah, they're like, well, at least
Waiting
there's
that long?
some self-control.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
well, they go to bed by like 6:30. You know, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I was
you know,
thinking.
So,
Yeah.
So, so like waiting that is kind of like they could get away with drinking at noon if
5
they're
o'clock
going to bed 6
somewhere.
hours later.
Yeah.
right. So I get there in time for happy hour on Friday, and that's fine. We sit there and we have dinner, and then I leave them alone. Like, we have dinner and I hang out for, like, you know, I'm there from like 3:30. I think I'm home. I'm back to the hotel by 6. So that's like not taxing their time. That's another specialty of mine, is like not overstaying my welcome emotionally, you know. And so I pick them up at 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, and take them to breakfast at they have the spot they like. And then I drop them off and I go do my thing for the day. And then I go back there at 3:30 for
Happy hour again.
Yeah. And we're about halfway through dinner when the first time my mom gets a little snippy with me. And I told her I was talking about this show, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Oh, sure. You know, and then my dad said something about, you know, how the world needs to change from the top down, from the bottom, you know, like, it's people who are the problem. It's got to change from the bottom up. And I was like, what I said was, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. And he's like, oh, really? And he said, oh, really? And my mom from across the room says, you watch the next words out of your mouth.
To you or to him?
To me. As if like Satan had crawled into my mouth. And I'm like, first of all, you're not the religious one here. My mom didn't go to church with us growing up. She's the smart one. She's like, I'm not getting up at 7:30 every goddamn Sunday morning.
Yeah,
the kids have to go. You know, but I don't have to go. But yeah. So and it was, and then a couple other things happened that I won't get into, and I'm just like, okay, well, I thought I was gonna stay, but I'm just gonna go. And it wasn't like a bad out. It was like everybody was taxed. I mean, God, the guy had It was, but I, it registered to me. I had a little anxiety going there in the first place because, again, I knew that this is the first time I'd been there for that sort of reason, where it's like it's sort of an obligation almost.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with those obligations.
At least you won't have regrets.
Well, and that's a funny thing that my brother and I have spoken a lot about is that, when and this is kind of going into the weeds a little bit, but I'll do it because it's, don't stop bereaving. Is that, for the last 10 years, I've made sure that if they pass, if a meteor was to hit their house tomorrow, I'd be solid with our relationship.
Yeah.
Like I've done enough. I've said enough. I've said the things that need to be said. I've told them I love them enough that they, they're my dad's a hugger now because I've forced him to be. Yeah. It's that sort of thing where, and I'm not sure that my brother's actually, he's seen them a lot more than I have, I think. He's gone over there a lot more, but I don't think he's put that sort of emotional footwork, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think he's done the work. And so he was a little freaked out when this was like, oh shit. I might, and this is the wrong time. The part where the decrescendo, the life's decrescendo is the wrong time to be putting in the work.
Nope. Exactly.
Because you don't know how much energy the person has. You don't know who you get, he could have a stroke and then all of a sudden he can talk to you, and so, my sister and I have both kind of put in the work. I think we're pretty solid with where we are. And I think my brother's playing a little bit of catch up. And so that's part of that dynamic I was talking about, where it's like the dynamic that it's emerging is it's kind of interesting. And, well, I guess a little telling, I don't know. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Lieutenant Dan. Yeah, but it's weird, like living it. It's fun. Like my little watering hole, which I'll leave unnamed. My little bar I go to got one of those punching machines where
you were telling us.
That was my fucking therapy.
So awesome.
Yeah, I literally spent like $110 on the fucking thing, like in 2 nights.
A couple of C notes later, I feel fine.
It's like my hand was all swollen completely. Still is a little, and like, yeah. And it's to me, I've already dealt with a lot. I built my mom 2 homes. I poured the foundation in buckets myself with my brother, and even more than that, we were very entrepreneurial. My mom owned a really cool home decor store growing up, and like we've had jobs together as a family my whole life. We're kind of like a corporation almost. My family, every member has like a role, and so. Not having that regret, doing the groundwork before. So right now, even when they're being crazy, you can just make it about them and just bring up stories and just just, you don't have to worry about like being like, for instance, my mom is like she spends all of her seconds of every day being a Christian. She just prays, reads the Bible, prays. I mean, and it's everything to her, right. And I forgot where it was because this stuff's so fucking heavy now. I'm like, my mind's trying to stop myself from getting too far into it.
You were talking about the dynamic and having to not having you've done the groundwork, and so you're all.
Oh yeah. I told her about this podcast a while ago, because I realized I've had this idea for like a friend reminded me when I was up home. I've actually had this idea for like 7 years now. Yeah. And I just was so blocked up religiously. I was so scared to even talk about faith in any sort of way because, it's just, wow, so loaded. I just haven't been able to do it. And part of that was my mom, obviously, because, her respect and love is, who doesn't want that shit, and I don't want to be rude, but I think it's really important to be 100% yourself with people. How else do they actually, and so been able to do that, been able to talk to her, been able to tell her how I feel. We disagree, but it makes the hugs a lot longer right here at the end, and it makes it a lot more peaceful, at least for me.
So you found that your mom is okay with with you guys having disagreements?
Only now. It took a long time. It took a really long time. It took a lot of fights, unfortunately. A lot. And it's because I have a position in my family. I'm firstborn male.
Oh,
that's a big deal. So, because back in, they want to be Israelites. And so you get all the blessing from the father, you get the inheritance, which means you have to do all the work. Okay. So I've been basically working 12, 15 hours a day on different projects with my family for my mom and my dad, whether it be my dad.
About 37 years now.
Yeah, since I was 9. I got the photos.
I'm supposed to started working when I was about 4.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I really appreciate it now. And it was weird is to go back up and hang out with my pops. Because there's all these family friends stopping by because my mom's passing. So I'm seeing people that I haven't seen in 30 years, 20 years, and they used to be every day of my life. My brother's best friend was around, and he's he looks like the guy from Dexter now. He's like a physical.
Dexter?
Yeah, he looks exactly like him. He's all handsome, and he's been, he was super Christian like us growing up, but he doesn't go at all anymore. And he was he's been all around the world, Africa, North and South Korea, helping people. He's telling me he was in Nepal once trying to be a missionary to tell people about Jesus. And people were bowing to him because they've never seen a white person before where they got. Wow. Dude, he had the coolest experiences. And so I'm bumping into all these people that I know from different parts of my faith. Well, my dad never really told me any, growing up, never told me any of his war stories. He would never. He was in Vietnam. He was a gunner on the Point Defiance. And I never really realized it, but I was kind of I guess you'd say a pretty masculine kid from the get-go. I was always a dude. And dress up in military garb and hide with a fake gun I made, to protect my family from anyone. I was always worried about protecting my family, and I loved military stuff like planes and books and strategy and paintball and so my dad purposely, he wouldn't let me play football, and he wouldn't tell me any war stories.
He didn't want to flame the fire, fan the flames.
Now I get it, yeah, because he was a football coach. He coached football in high school, yeah, and he wouldn't let me play.
Did you want to play?
I woke up at 4 o'clock every morning and threw 100. I had one football, so I threw it once at 50 yards, through the tire. Yeah. But that was 7 months before I discovered Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, nice. So you didn't have to. You weren't tortured for too long.
No, I loved it though. I still like showing people up throwing that ball sometimes because they don't realize. I got some heat.
We should throw.
Yeah, I love. Oh, dude, throwing balls.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
Favorite.
Dude, we'd keep it in the back of the van. You'd be in Cincinnati in the middle of the street, having a throw.
I've never been in a band with people who could throw. I was in that band Silly Rabbit.
Yeah.
So I told you that story about the guy with the party up the street, the Volkswagen Bug who ran him over, and I ended up working for him.
Yeah,
later.
totally.
Yeah. So we lived on a hill. We lived the Maple Lane. It started at 88th Avenue, and it took 2 houses to get to the top of the hill, and then it was a street for 10 or 11 houses, whatever. But we happen to live right on the hill, so my brother and I would go out in the front out in the street, and someone, unless we wanted to walk to the top of the hill or the bottom of the hill, someone had to be uphill or someone had to be downhill. And so after a while, I just always would be downhill. So I was always throwing uphill.
Yeah.
Always throwing uphill, and I got really So
you got a cannon.
It's a laser cannon. But so I never really, Silly Rabbit went up to play show at University British Columbia. And it was like the beginning of the year. What do they call that? The jamboree, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But everybody's out there drinking Canadian beer. Everyone's shit faced, and we're supposed to go on, or we're being corralled somewhere. And I walk by this. There's a car. It's like this giant sports field, but there's this car, and there's this tire, like you're saying, hanging on a thing. And there's these dudes trying to throw it through the hoop. And I'm like, give me that thing. And I take it and I throw it once and like miss it by like this far. I'm like, one more try. And I take it again, zam, like right through, and then turn around, just walk off and go. I think I won a car, but I didn't stick around for the car.
Oh my God, that's fucking awesome.
Unclear. Fact check. I got to find the bell, Leif. Where's the bell?
Maybe just an app on your phone even.
Yeah. But the phone makes this thing go wonky. You were talking about your mom and her ability of recently to hear your opinions that don't necessarily match hers.
Yeah.
And I find it super interesting that my mom doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't want to hear it. Cannot. It's so strange to me because.
What side does she fall on? Like, she's like Catholic?
Honestly, she's not a Catholic. She's not. She goes now because I think my dad doesn't want to go alone. But no. And honestly, I'm sure there is a doctrine there somehow. But to me, it always feels like just whatever side I'm not on, Oh
my God. Yeah.
Like,
ouch.
It almost doesn't matter. And it's not like she's, whatever. But the weird part is that I met my birth mom 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's like you. Like, I can tell her anything. She thinks I'm hilarious. No matter what comes out of my mouth, she laughs. It's like, and it's just so it's so interesting to me that, when you started talking about, my mom I was like, so is it a nurture nature thing? Because I have both now. Yeah. I've got nature and I've got nurture. And for me, it's like, the nature part of it is like, Jesus, well, that's just the same as me. That's our minds work the same way. And, my birth mom voted for Trump. Okay. There's a wrap your head around that for a second. No, I know. But the point is, and neither can I, but
yeah, I got QAnon in the family.
Well, but the point is that like, that doesn't keep us from relating to one another. You know, like, and maybe, and some people can't. Some people, like on my side, wouldn't be able to either do that or appreciate that or understand that. But it's like, I'm not gonna crawl up someone's ass just because they don't agree with me, even if I think what they think is, even if I can't wrap my head around what they think.
Dude, I grew up in the fucking woods. I know exactly how stupid I am. So when someone doesn't agree with me, I'm grateful. Like I'm like, okay, really test every point of my opinion. Because I need some more data here, and like, yeah, it's hard with those, with religious people and with the older age. And one thing that I'm realizing that, was really apparent with my family this last time is our parents grew up a lot harder than we did. Dude,
well, for sure,
if you grow up anywhere near the Depression and you remember it, if you had to go through the Dust Bowl, if you had to see fucking kids get given up, I mean, the amount of weird shit, like, for instance, this might be TMI too, but yeah, I don't care. I'm going to tell it because it happened. It was really sad. My grandma, when she was 13, got raped by 2 businessmen walking home from school, and she got like some type of disease from it, and then everyone thought she was a whore, and so she got ostracized from school and church and everything like that in North Dakota. And that, like, It wasn't her fault. Exactly. You know, and there's rough times compared to, and like, I know right now it's crazy, but I think it's actually all of us just trying to figure it out. And I think it will be fine. I think human beings are pretty amazing and resilient. And I guess this is all maybe just pure hope. But like you see I get to hear stories from my parents in these honest ways, like especially my dad. My brother recorded it all, but my dad went into all the battles he was in. It was fucking heavy. Dude, I was almost like, like he said that he was on the front of this boat on a gun, and you got like 6 people that work with you on this gun, and he saw what he thought was someone throwing a rock in the water. And he's like, why is someone throwing a rock? This is not time to be like goofing off, And then he saw like a bunch more rocks. And then it started hitting the ship. And then he's like, oh, that's like enemy gunfire. And he said the very first thought was, why are you doing this? If you knew me, you'd probably like me. And if I knew you, I'd probably like you. Why are we doing this? And then the machine gun fire kept going. And he was like, fuck you. Like what a crazy spot to have to be in at 18 years old, where you just get drafted. You have no choice. Yeah. And you don't even believe in this shit, and you know it, and you're there, and you're like, what is this for? Yeah. Killing these other people? Like, that's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti-military. I love, I'm that war I think is just pretty easy to call bullshit. Like the Vietnam War sucked. Period.
Did you end up watching that the history of the United States according to Oliver Stone?
No.
You have to watch it. Totally have to watch it.
It has to have all that shit in there. That's his bread
Well,
and butter,
it's basically it's basically every conflict we've been in since. I don't think it goes back to the Civil War, but it might. But most of the, definitely World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War, and he's just, and every step of the way, it's the middle, just you should watch it.
I will.
It's never out as it's been sold. Everything gets packaged and sold to us as like it's got wrappers and advertisements and sale one day only. All the little bells and whistles to try to get us back into spending money on military industrial complex.
Yeah, how do you fix that? But you know what I do, like, so I might have even said this on here before, but right when the George Floyd shit went down, my family was living by the Promenade down here, which is a huge outdoor mall. And so we saw the tank in Santa Monica. We saw people get pepper sprayed. We saw the looting and all that shit. And the next morning I went and walked around really early. And all there is just really tall, really attractive humans, not saying a word, cleaning everything up. There was just really nice people, like the most beautiful men and women you've ever seen. Like, I feel I'm all like short, hi, like, and they're not asking questions. They're not taking selfies. It's not their bank. They're scrubbing the graffiti off. And there's so many more of these human beings that like live. And we, for instance, I was so scared to do this podcast because I don't want to offend anyone. And you know what happened when I went home? Apparently everyone's listening to it. And like they're really interested, and they're like texting me now, and they're like exploring the Bible and religion again instead of being all mad about it and not realizing what a big role that was playing in their day to day. And I'm like, really? Because it's not like, we're still at like a
we're not pillaring people.
No,
we're holding some lights up.
No, yeah,
we're illuminating things that are true. But other than that, dude, man, just trying to make life better for people.
Yeah,
starting with us.
Starting with us. You're on our fucking therapy.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, and it's weird to have all the shit happening at once too, because my mom is obviously my pillar of the faith. She is like, she kept us from going to school so we wouldn't be tempted.
By the world. Of Babylon.
Yeah, for real. Huh? It's fucking weird, right? It's like I love her. I'm really grateful for my life. It's
how you turned out, man. She
really,
gets a bunch of credit for that.
all of it. Especially when it comes to
90%. You get 10. Save yourself 10. Knock yourself off a little something. Because you could be your sisters. And I'm not bad mouthing your sisters. I'm just saying that you could have swallowed the whole hook. You could have drank all the Kool-Aid and like been immersed in it and like not come out you, but you didn't. You came out somebody who wanted to make sure that the inaccuracies you see were addressed to your kids. You're not just going to put butts in seats. You're going to like, okay, I need to ingest this and digest it and then see what comes out and what is that to me and how do I want to give that to my kids? Because it's like, it's the part where it's just mindless. That's the part that has to change. Yeah. Because you start using it as like you were saying, you start using it as an excuse to live your life the way you want to live it.
Exactly.
Instead of being a fucking better person.
It's an idol.
Yeah.
You're worshiping yourself because you're the one in control of all the boundaries and the interpretation who you're listening to. I mean, these people, it's very easy to get lost in this book because it's so varied and it's hard to look at it like it is, which is very complex and very contradictory. And so you can create these little pockets of this verse says this, it's, and you can only really see it over years of an unproductive life where it's like, no one wants to believe in Christ or believe in you. I had like that buddy, just like that I saw my brother's little friend. My brother and him were always like fucking way cooler than me and his older brother. Like they were amazing. Like when we'd go skiing a lot growing up. We were backwoodsy people, and they would be doing like fucking backflips and like, and I'm not joking, like iron crosses, and I'd be like, but now as we all grew up in the faith, and he's older, and he's spent like a significant amount of his time helping people in need, going out, finding someone that actually needs help, and doing whatever he can. He went to this village in Africa, and he was trying to help them get water and talk about Jesus. And because he was white and they hadn't seen many of that, and it's deep, 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 they had to make a barricade around the little hut they were in. And a bunch of the guys were like breaking off anything they could, breaking off table legs, trying to stab him through this like gate he had made that he was holding everyone back with. Like he has, his stories of like, he went to Haiti after the earthquake and spent months there helping those people rebuild everything, being what I consider a real Christian, being what I consider the example Christ left us in the Bible. Just fucking help people. Just fucking help people. That's all it was. That's all it ever was, right? And like, you see no one doing it. Well, I don't see any. I see everyone arguing online, making little TikToks about how cool their faith is. I don't see them out serving soup.
Okay, so now we have a byline because the whole TikTok thing. You told me I needed to get into TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to do the work. I don't understand the thing about the tap the volume button. What is that?
We're going to get roasted so hard now because I don't understand either, man. I don't know.
I don't know what that, and I don't want to tap anything. I'm like, no, every time that it says something, I just skip it. I just like, okay, next.
Yeah, I've literally spent every second of my life since I was 14 years old just playing guitar and trying to make that sound decent. I don't know. I barely Facebook.
Yeah.
Like one time my emo band got the fucking front of MySpace. That's like as far as I've made it. Like with,
you just totally dated yourself.
You got to sometimes. Like,
yeah.
You gotta.
So you don't know what that is?
No, dog. I don't know either. We're gonna get roasted. We're fucking. You know what? I did see on there though that like millennials, they say that we were born in the late 1900s.
What?
Yeah, you and me.
We were actually born in the late 20th century.
Yeah, but they call it the late 1900s.
I guess that is the late. Oh, they're not saying that. They're saying the 19th. They're not saying the 19th century. They're saying the 1900s.
Yep.
That's pretty
82,
funny.
baby. That's pretty fucking cold. I mean,
why? Because it sounds like we're like from like the wagon train time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truth hurts, man. You know
Dude,
what? there was no NASA before I was born. Well, there was, but they hadn't gone to the moon yet. One of my first memory is the moonwalk. That's what I remember. And there weren't Ziploc baggies. All right, so fuck you. And there wasn't Tupperware. Maybe there was Tupperware. Fact check. There weren't what weren't there? There wasn't shit, man.
There wasn't shit.
There wasn't shit. It doesn't make any sense. So okay, I want everybody. Here's how little,
this struck deep. I didn't mean to.
Here's how little respect these people have. Okay, imagine. I don't know. I don't even know if kids sneak out of their house anymore. Do they? The kids sneak out of their house in the middle of the night.
Why would they? They have
to
their
go
phone.
hang out with. What?
I think.
Right.
I think
they can be together.
As far as I know, the dating, the generation below are like the kinds that like call themselves a psycho, but then they're like too scared to ask the waiter for more ketchup. Like,
dude, okay, so fuck this. We would sneak out of. I would sneak out of my parents' house. I would get like the garage door. My parents' bedroom was above the garage, and my dad put those automatic, the spring-loaded, bam. Like, so when you open it, you didn't have to close it. It would just go bam.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you open it, it goes, like you can hear the ping of the spring.
Ramps up, yeah.
Yeah. And so I got to go from the bottom of the stairs of the basement into the garage with the pinger, and then pick up my bike, take it out the back door with their bedroom being directly above me.
And that was just to have fun, right? Because
this was out just to go out in the middle of the night, and like, I would wait till like, I don't even know what time it was, 11, 12, whatever. And I would ride for about probably 35 minutes to get to my buddies somewhere we're going to meet.
Damn.
We didn't have phones to tell us where we're going to meet.
Yeah.
We just we're going to meet here at this time. So be there.
Dude.
And then we'd find each other. And then we would go to a girl's house who was having a sleepover, or her parents went home. And we would roll up and like sneak into the basement of the, like we're sneaking into these houses and hang out with girls when we're like 13, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Fuck. That's crazy.
And we didn't have phones to like coordinate this shit. It was just like, like dead reckoning.
Dude, that's fucking crazy to me. That's awesome though.
I think so.
Right.
And you know what? I don't have a problem asking for ketchup either. Motherfucker, I need more ranch right now. You know what I've taught Cole?
What's that?
You know what I've taught our son? He'll get up and go find the person. He won't even if he wants it now, he'll like get up and, hey, would it be cool if you brought us some more ketchup whenever you get a chance?
That's
take the fight to them.
Yeah, that's badass.
Advocating.
It's crazy how much knowledge the boys know so much now. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't really have any more science facts than they do. And it literally is just from their allocated fucking iPad time. Because, we make them watch science shit and different stuff on there if they're going to get to use it for... Because YouTube's just a fucking black hole of...
Oh, Jesus.
For those kids, you got to be careful. But
TikTok isn't any better.
No, it's just what everyone uses. I don't necessarily prefer it either. But... I have found out a lot of weird shit. I haven't been able to put time into it, but there's a lot of people on there that I think I'd like to have conversations with us,
Who, where do you find is there can you type in a search or something?
So we,
you don't know.
Right, let's have no more TikTok questions because I don't want to get even more roasted.
Dude. Why is it called TikTok?
Yeah, no, imagine me like just listening to like Guns N' Roses on half speed, like trying to figure out do. That's like every hour of my life besides the Bible. Like that's, I know nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. It makes me feel so fucking old, but I like it.
I love there's I don't know what the nationality of the woman is. I've only followed like 3 people.
Sure.
But one of them is this married couple. The guy's just always screwing with his wife, and his wife always kicks his ass. And she has this move where, like, when she makes him, she'll be like doing something or in somewhere in the house, and he'll say something, and she'll like get this look on her face, and she'll flip her shoe up, and it hits the ceiling, and she catches it on the way down and whips it at him. And if she's really mad, she'll do both of the shoes. And I'm like, okay, I'm following these people.
It's weird what grabs your attention on there, right?
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah, some of it's fucking hilarious.
But I didn't realize how many thirst traps it's like
warned you about that shit.
80%. It's like 80%, and then every once in a while you get something that might be funny, and then there's the dogs, which are hilarious.
And I'm totally pro sex work. Like, good on you, girl. If you look that good, yeah, sure. Like, if you want to flaunt any part of what the good Lord gave you, we're all lucky. But like, Jesus Christ, it's a lot, ain't it? Like, isn't there something else? Like, I try not to, you can feed the algorithm and it will start going away. Like, depends on what you look at, will start coming up more. It really, really is like that on everything. So,
it is, okay.
As long as you just keep, looking at Neil deGrasse Tyson instead of that girl's amazing ass.
Well, then never mind. We should talk about this off the air.
Now we're dealing with our parents' deaths.
How do you get these kids off of my lawn? All right. Well, sorry. Well, maybe you know what? I don't mind. The kids can school us. I'm into it. Just let me know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I want to see more funny stuff.
The great part. There's so much funny stuff.
Yeah, but I want more of it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to create it. I've got this idea to make a little skit with visiting your family for the holidays, and there's someone going home to their religious family and they just don't want to deal with all the religious talk. And it's like, Brent, one of our lesbian liberals. And then one of my hot lesbian friends show up and be like, they bring facts, facts. Have they're at the party diffusing everything. Yeah.
That's funny because my wife's first husband had a business, an entrepreneurial idea that's exactly that, where you bring someone to a party that makes you look good by being such a douche. If you're worried about your douche quote, your douche level, you can rent somebody who's hired, substantially higher douche level.
That is so fucking hilarious.
I thought it was pretty good, but it's what was it gonna? You were saying something. I think that how do you? Again, how do you do this on TikTok, Leif? But there's
are we back to it? We should we should stop this. Yeah,
come on,
it's good weed.
We got it. It's I don't
weed.
care.
I'll answer it, but
just
expect to get roasted.
That's totally great. You know what? That just means they care.
Okay.
Not. Can there's the videos that there's the one with the dog running around and the dude going, I'm fast as fuck, boy. Fast as fuck, motherfucker.
It's so funny.
How do you find where the original audio comes from?
I don't know. I've never tried to do that.
That's fuck boy.
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's so great. Yeah.
I make all the shit for ours. So all the music is me sitting in here being weird. Hi.
No, I get this. But and it's, okay. So
but I think you could just touch it. I feel like you just touch it and then it will take you to a music section.
Touch the what? The music?
My God, this is going to get clipped up into oblivion, dude. And I haven't slept in 2 weeks. We're all sad.
I think the problem is initially nobody cares right now. No one's watching.
Oh man, there's a crazy amount actually.
What's that?
Yeah, we're actually
people on TikTok are watching.
Oh no, well yeah, actually we got more than we have, but no, the weird part is YouTube and Spotify. Spotify's fucking blowing up. Weird, we're basically at a really rad El Corazon show. We're
all right.
Yeah, we went from the Central.
Right.
We went from a good 40, 55 strong for the first couple days, weeks there. And now it's up. It's doing pretty decent. Right. Yeah. And again, I haven't even, when we're doing this, I still haven't even promoted it really on anything. I just made some of the socials and
I sent out blasts to everybody in my like 1,000 people. Everyone got a personal text with just the YouTube link. That's all I
cool.
said. Dink, dink, dink.
Yeah, that people are watching that too.
It fucks up my my text thread though, because if I'm looking for things and I get to that section, it's like takes
forever. Yeah,
it takes a month to get through it. Fuck. It's all like it all happened in like an hour.
Yeah, yeah. It has been harboring conversations. It's been really interesting. Like the people that have been reaching out to me are like, it's more than I definitely expected at all. Like I've been getting texts from people I wouldn't expect, and it's been crazy kind of, and they're freaking out because they haven't been able to actually think about these ideas. And, hopefully what we at least harbor is that we don't know everything, and we're just trying to discuss it openly without judgment, really, is like our ultimate goal, is to get it out of the way of those fucking stupid pastors with leather jackets who say one thing and do the other. Like,
if we can circumvent that process for people, anybody, if anybody's like, because I never read the Bible. I'm Catholic. Catholics don't read the Bible. Catholics hear very small snippets, once a week. And then maybe a little bit longer one on Christmas. And, you've said every conversation we've had that a person's a real Christian when they haven't read the Bible. If someone says they're a Christian, they haven't read the Bible.
That's the one thing I know.
And it's like,
and it's like, here's the deal. I all the Christians I know seem to have a huge problem with the church in some way. And I say that they're Christians in the fact that, like, if you look at their life, their actions that they take on a daily basis seem to be towards helping as many people as they can. And they do a really good job of it. They're all pretty rad. Yeah. And they all happen to be like pretty tried and true fucking Christians, like worship songs, memory verses. But one or two of them aren't. One or two of them are kind of like renegade type people,
Yeah.
And it's go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking maybe the internet age, the age of information where you can, all these little kids can play the hardest shit on bass and guitar and drums at 4 years old.
Yep.
And but. My nephew, when he was 13, could do the Steve Gadd beat for 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. All right? And like that was the thing when I was in high school.
Yeah.
That was like the like, can you play the
Fool in the Rain?
Can you play
that one or that? Yeah, dog.
Yeah. And so but my thought is that they can go on YouTube and watch someone do it. Like they don't have to listen. They don't have to ask like the upperclassmen. They can just go on YouTube and find it. And it doesn't seem like, and maybe I'm wrong, and you'd be way more able to speak to this, the validity of this, but it seems like there isn't a ton of that going on with theology. There's not like
not yet. I feel like it's opening up, and I really like the idea of that being symbiotic with the psychedelic revolution that's kind of going on, because it's impossible to deny what's happened. We got fed a load of bullshit when it comes to drugs, certain ones at least, most, and like and it's, I think it's okay to say that. And I mean, I have so many ideas all the time that it's hard for me to think I'm right about anything, and I'm just kind of basically trying to parse them all out here and maybe fucking get some validity, some coherence between them. But it definitely seems to be right on the sleeve of everyone. They don't want to talk about it. I mean, it is our oldest method of dealing with mortality, right? And these stories lasted, in my opinion, like way longer than Christians think. Because I'm assuming the stories of the Old Testament have been around for fucking maybe even millions of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that helps them. I think that makes them more valid,
Sure.
But
staying power.
But yeah, we all feel it, right? I mean, I don't really think of anything like a god anymore because it's just so weird to me that they pick the dudes. Like, it's like, oh, the dudes pick the dudes. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And like, just the fact that it would have a shape at all, like form at all to an all powerful being. Just I don't know.
Yeah,
but
no, that's perfect because especially knowing what we know as far as there's no up and there's no down.
Yeah.
There's no heaven. I mean, if you're talking literally, which everybody assumed they were, now that just doesn't apply unless you're talking about within the earth itself is where hell is,
Right. And maybe it's within us. See, that's what I think. Cause I think all of us, these stories are about us, not about the devil. There's like in you is a fucking devil. And if you're not careful, he'll get out and he'll wreak havoc.
Yeah.
And no one does bad shit and is like, oh, look at all this bad shit I'm doing. They think they're fucking right.
Mm-hmm.
And like we play it at all at our peril. You know what I'm saying? Like holding it to this dogmatic ideological, like black and white. Don't trust the scholars. Don't trust the people that read the ancient languages. Don't get educated. I believe these words.
Yeah, my way or the highway.
Scary place, slippery slopes.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I love, and it's funny. It doesn't sound like we're actually going to get to our verses today, which is totally fine. I mean, because we're
I'm fucking not in a good spot.
Yeah, no, exactly. But when we did, we got like, again, I think it can't be more important to convey that our first thought was not, oh, these are the words of a all-knowing, all-powerful deity or God. These are the words of a parent trying to explain the magic of the universe they're seeing around them to their kid. So that
was so brilliant by you, by the way. I've never even thought of it that way, but it does kind of like I just saw the family forever crossing all the different lakes and coastlines and mountains and like
just like the wanderers.
Just the dad like out of frustration, out of what?
Why? Why? If you ask me why one more time, I'm going to throw you in that burning pit. Okay, here's why there's a burning pit.
It's so funny. So beautiful.
Yeah. But to your point about, when you think of a God now, you don't think of this guy, you don't think of a guy, you don't think of a robe or a beard or a place even, it's like, it's more,
it could be a place. That's something I definitely feel like through
the DMT.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like,
yeah.
Dude, when?
Whenever we can, I guess.
No. You keep saying that. And if it was whenever, I'd be right now.
I know.
So when?
It's just hard. All my, it's one of those things where it's like all my friends, maybe they try to just be cool, but like, yeah, I got it, and then they don't have it. So it's just hard to find.
Yeah, none of my friends.
Fucking hard to find.
Either my friends don't want to be cool, or they just don't have it.
Or you have access to our TikTok, our TikTok account's email, right?
Unclear.
I feel like you do, because you should check it.
Oh! Like the inbox? I don't think.
People have been reaching out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we've had a lot of people reach out.
Ouch! I just got zapped. But maybe my phone. Sorry.
So like, before I did that substance, I was really, really, really atheistic, and
Before you did what?
DMT.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I really found myself and I'm not closed off to the idea of God. I just think that the idea that everyone in America is chasing is batshit crazy and wrong.
Oh, just short-sighted and like really not very
gross.
Not very,
I think it's evil actually. Again, not everyone, but goddamn most of it. So that's just truth. But like. So you have all this resentment. Yeah, sorry. And then you do that substance, and we've said before on this, it just makes you feel so small. And you realize what a beautiful gift this limitation is, and that by me even trying to fucking tell anyone else what of God or the Bible would be, I'm like saying that I'm fucking God. And how the fuck can I do that? I'm a part of this distortion. I can only be Leif, unfortunately. And that limitation,
you can only explain God to Leif.
Yeah.
You can only get in touch with God through Leif. You can't.
Yeah.
You watch all of these. It's the fucking church, man. I swear to God, unless they're going to start.
Cool too, right?
What's that?
It could be amazing.
No. Our church.
We're
starting a church. I don't know.
Yeah, we are.
But it's not going to be organized. We're not going to be the heads of it.
No.
Like we said, like maybe the K squared are going to be the high priestesses, because
I almost feel like we'll figure out a way to get it like a TED Talk scenario where we just invite the leading minds on subjects of theology and whatever we're interested in, bring them talks that we can broadcast for everyone, and then eventually we get a psychedelic ritual. And they can lead it. They can be the priestesses.
I'm totally into that. Yeah, It's just the gatekeeper. That's the part that you said that people's ideas of God is downright evil.
Yeah,
it strikes me as lazy. That's
100%.
the worst part, is that it's lazy, and then they acquiesce to the gatekeepers, so they don't have to do any work on themselves, so they don't have to look inside and find the good person or the spirituality or the emotional connection, or that the part that's like this codependent relationship, like the gatekeepers need the sheep, and the sheep need the gatekeepers, when the sheep could just like stop showing up. Stop putting ducats in the basket.
Well, there's this thing that is very new, and it's strange, but Christianity and all religions are usually kind of the last to adopt some shit, right? So it's called the internet, and it's been really weird. When I used to go on tour, I had this huge ass fucking book, like that fucking thick. It's called the Strong's Thesaurus. So it had, you could find every other verse where you could find any other section of that verse referenced that idea, kind of thing, in the Bible. So it's like a huge, and it has all the different words and meanings, and it's crazy. And then I had I was trying to find the most amount of information about this text as I could, and it was limited. It's hard to find. You have to know someone that recommends a book that knows this book, and people who are in the Baptist denomination are going to only think about Baptists. People who are in the Presbyterian only recommend Presbyterians. People, it's a segregated. It's a very segregated thoughts, very segregated ideas, and it's hard to break out of those dogmas. And now the internet is like, Bible Hub, or like, it's so fucking funny to me.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be ours.
No, I wish.
Right.
Oh man, I wish.
That'd be great.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
but
totally.
the point, you can get to the translations. You can hear some of the most brilliant men, people who actually dug up these sites, and you can hear everything they have to say.
Oh, so you heard? So Katie did a little bit of research on the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it turns out those are, and I'm going to butcher this, but it's basically a direct. It's the same. It's the exact same, almost verbatim, as the Old Testament, but written like 1,500 years before the Old Testament.
Yeah. Before the earliest copies we had at the time. So it really solidified some of the theories on some of the dates that were actually like pretty liberal, like thinking it was like, this is really old shit. And people were like, and then that came out, and they're like, yeah, this is really old shit. Right. Yeah. And I saw them, and it was weird, man. It has a bunch of Psalms. Yeah. It's cool. They're so brilliant, but they also are not the New Testament. There is not a single portion of the New Testament in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's all the Old Testament. Yeah.
How could there be?
Yeah, well, people like to somehow conflate those two. That they,
that there's some confirmation of the Thanks. Sorry,
people
fellas.
believe weird shit, man, and I don't know. After this trip, I was a little bit broken. Like I need to one of the things I want to do is fucking help. I'm sick of, living here. One of the hardest parts about living where I live is seeing the extreme wealth and the extreme poverty. Wealth's a spectrum, right? And so there's some people down here that are fucking way high on that shit. I've seen a gold-plated Ferrari, and then like a mom with 2 kids and a fucking sleeping
shopping cart.
Yep.
I gotta run upstairs and fill up this coffee.
Okay, dude.
Hold on for 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
What were you saying? Look at the size of my fucking sack.
No, I have a lot of memories at that place on your shirt there.
Backwood. Oh, the Moor?
The Moor, yeah.
Yeah.
I got married on that stage.
What?
Where
was I?
I thought you were there. You were on tour. Yeah.
That's brutal. How does it looks wonky?
Nabil was there.
Was he?
Yeah, motherfucking open for Alice in Chains. What? That was a huge deal for us there, for me.
Oh, you opened it for Alice in Chains.
Yeah, Siren Sister. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
I think it was the wrong cast.
Jesus fucking Christ! I just had a seizure. Guy, it's cold down here, so I had to put a little wrap on.
It's the motherfucking you could just go these days. We're not used to interfacing with technology at this level anymore. This is weird, right? We've passed into something.
Yeah,
the Delta variant fucked us.
Oh Jesus, that fucking variant. I got a buddy who didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah,
and then he got COVID, and then he got the variant, and he's all stoked. I'm like, yeah, but isn't it bad for you?
Well, now it'll get better. Wish you would have got vaccinated, but now it'll get better. I mean,
yeah. Well, but never mind. I don't want to talk about it.
We got vaccinated instantly. I like playing music. If everyone just would have fucking followed the rules from the fucking get-go, we'd be fine. It's fucking everyone's a goddamn fucking moron. That was a problem. Everyone lost their minds. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. You fucking lost your mind. You lost your goddamn minds.
Yeah. I sort of again. See, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it with you, man.
Well, the reason we could get away right now with not reading the Bible on this one is because of all the interesting responses we were having to, because now the podcast is finally out. We've done so many of these without having it out at all. And now people are emailing us. And I'm bumping into people in the streets up there, and it's weird who's actually listened to it. And it seems that everyone wants to be able to talk about this, figure out what's going on. And I'm, fucking.
Are there any questions for us?
I mean, there's too many, and unfortunately, I'm dealing with my own stuff with mom because it was just heavy times. But
for sure,
it is. It does seem to be like why and how do you actually live a Christian life and not end up like these people who just go to church, listen to 1 or 2 verses, think that they know everything, and never actually do anything better for someone else other than themselves. It seems to be all about that. Like, how do you, because meaning, what makes fucking meaning in life is what it's all around. Because these people, maybe you spent some time in a church, became a worship pastor, got to the top of worship pastor ladder, and now you're there and you're like, really, the decisions that are being made in this fucking place are just as petty as high school? I thought we were.
I don't know what a worship pastor is.
Oh, it's so music is a massive part of the Christian experience in America. In fact, that's where I started playing music. That's where I honed my skills. I was 14, started playing worship in a youth group, and it's kind of, it's deeper than that. It goes back to Little Richard shit, right? But most church services start off with singing X amount of songs. They have the words on the screen. This band plays, and now it's a big deal to have a really good band. Unfortunately, most of those bands just turn on that fucking Edge U2 delay pedal. It's fucking ruined that sound for me. But it's so annoying. But it's a hypnotic thing. Gets you all in the same spot. Music is so magical. And so you have this congregation, could be lots of people, could be little people, but they're all singing together. And now you sit down to listen to something. It makes what you're hearing 15 times, 20, 50,000 times like more powerful.
Emotional foreplay.
100%. And it's actually, I don't know. I feel like I already told that story.
I never heard it. No, you've never said that.
Oh yeah, it's you know, I think like what knocked me off course too is this stuff. You know, I'm trying to figure out what's right. You know, and I used to tell people I knew, and I used to tell people about Jesus, and you know, I just had I have so many problems myself in my own life. I can't talk to anyone else about that shit. So I stopped, and then you know, and you start kind of finding maybe what the real Jesus is. Maybe, you know, I don't know.
Well, but not until you realize you don't have the answers. Like if you know, like, isn't it weird that when you're young, you think you could tell people how to be or explain something, but the older you get, the less the more you realize you don't know shit.
Don't know,
Dick. You know, you know, that's the whole thing where it's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the fucking wrong room. You know, it's like, I don't ever want to be, I'll just sit there. I remember growing up and, you know, my parents, for all of their, you know, whatever, they did their best, you know, like I think most parents try to. They had a lot of dinner parties, you know, like one or two, you know, usually just one couple or like writers that were working for my dad or whatever. And they would come over and they were always characters. And I would just sit there and watch them all drink wine and talk. And I would never say anything. Like I didn't have anything to contribute. I was just like so interested in the, I don't know. For a long time, I thought I like to listen to the construct of conversations and how that back and forth works, you know? And when, you know, and then when you delve into, you know, kids on the spectrum and their you know, their difficulties with inference and like conversational construct, like where does the conversation start? When is it my turn to talk? When is it your turn to talk? And how does it end? And what's you know, I've always wanted to like listen. You know, the older you get, the more conspicuous it is. If you're just standing around listening, you're always expected, like, you know, put your 2 cents in.
Yeah.
But you know, and weed for that is, for me, is perfect because I just don't give a shit. I will just sit there and listen. Yep. And they'll say, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Just baked, just listening."
They just, they don't. No one wants to hear my opinions. My friends, yeah. And I have a problem with small talk. I'm unable to do it. Like I can't. Like, how's the weather? I'm always like the one that it's just like it's unfortunate, but it's even been around like rich and famous people always be like, so when do you think VR porn's going to take over fucking everything and no one's going to go outside? You know, it's like I don't. It's like it's just have no. I grew up so isolated that you know.
I don't think that's necessarily just an isolation thing. I think that no, really, because it's like I've always assumed that everyone just thought I was an asshole because I can't do that. I'm coming at you with either something that's funny that you might not think is funny, or just like some real shit. Yeah, and that's all I've ever had is like, yeah. And so if you don't get my humor and you're put off by straightforward talk, I'm not going to be your cup of tea. Yeah, and I just think that's not what did you call it? Like, what did you just call it? I'm sorry, I just like totally brain faded. Like do. That's the edit song.
It helps.
Whenever anybody just forgets it,
dude, there's so many things like that coming up. But objectivity, maybe. I didn't use that word, but
no, you were talking about you were talking small talk. You were talking about small talk and how you don't do it. And I'm like, I don't think that's a sign of you know, anything other than like we got fucking limited breaths on this earth, and to waste them on shit you don't really mean or care about or need to know.
That's exactly.
I don't have it. That's not. It's like with my birth mom. It's like I can talk to her about. I can say the most vile shit. And joking about it. And like, even though she's like 70 something years old, like she will laugh and laugh and laugh because she knows I'm being funny, and it's the, I don't know. Yeah. There's too short a time.
Well, so like, here was one thing that's really strange. Being around all this old shit too, especially this old church I grew up in. I got kicked off worship team because I wore, you remember The Firm? You remember Jimmy Page's? Yeah. I found at the Maple Valley Goodwill a Firm t-shirt with Jimmy Page. And
super
obviously he's the wizard, he's God. So like finally got one of them's, right? That was all my money that week. And he was smoking a cigarette, and I didn't realize it. So I wore that to church. But then you can imagine when I got in Vendetta Red, they literally had like meetings where they prayed that the band would fail. So I would like.
Was that was after their record deal? Because were they first praying for the record deal? Because it was a.
It's funny who came around afterwards, right?
Yeah.
But you see, like, man, there's so much trauma that it starts stinting our brain, and I'm glad I'll be able to edit this conversation to make it make sense because we're dealing with a lot.
Or not, man. Like it was really. So I was telling you, we went over there twice. I've driven over to Walla Walla twice in the last month.
Which is a fucking trek, by the way. That's like you're basically in Idaho.
Oh, you're that's on the corner. That's on, like, the state line is like right by their house, like the Oregon. And if you go 20 miles over here, you're in Idaho. Yeah, totally. It's the asshole of Washington. That being said, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I'm not saying it's not that, but the drive over there, first one we took the whole family, and as we were leaving, and I had this talk with my son. I think it's important to have these sort of talks. He's going to be 17, so it's not like he gets it, and he's like, he and my wife were talking to my mom, and my dad came out, and he'd gotten a little winded because he was like looking for the cat under the bed, and I think he had his head below his heart, and first time, and he was yet to go in for congestive heart failure, right? So he was. And he actually the clot was just starting to happen, and he came out, he's a little winded, and I just looked him in the eye. I'm like, and we're like, for like maybe a minute, we were just doing the thing where it's like,
Jesus, yeah,
this might be it, man. And and then I gave him a big hug and told him I loved him, and then Cole, sorry, we're not using names or whatever. When we got home, he and I were talking. He's like, well, Papa might not notice it, but I held him extra long, and I hugged him for extra long, because I was thinking maybe, and these moments are like, I broke down a couple times. It was never there, and usually it was at the receiving of information, where it's like, you don't have your game face on, you don't know if it's.
Something you don't expect hits you real quick,
Is it the good news or bad news? And it's the bad news, and you only get so many bad newses when you're 85. And even though I've, you were talking earlier about how the great conversations you were having with your mom and all that, and that you've got that foundation, so you're not scrambling to establish anything. Even that being said, it's still. And that, your mom is a lot younger. My dad, like I said, it's like, it's just such a strange condition to be in, where this is the end of the race.
Yeah.
Like, this is like it's like in a soccer game when they get to the 90 minutes and they stick up the extra time. It's like we've gone through the 90 minutes, and now it's like, whatever number comes up there, it's like you don't get to know, but there's like, is it 6 minutes or is it 13? In a football match, they'll put how much extra time there is, but this is like that. Only that there's extra time, you just don't know how much. Like we're to the part where he's run the whole race.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe he gets 2 years, maybe he gets 2 months, maybe he gets 2 days, and it's just, and so it's so strange thinking like. This is going to be really horrible. I'm not going to say all that.
Why not?
Well, it's almost easier. Like, obviously, I want my dad to live as long as possible. I want him to have I want him to be, he's relatively healthy now. He's happy. He's living. He's getting his martini every day. That's great. If he starts getting to this place where he can't have his martini, or if he gets like, it's almost the out. And this is what one of his friends, one of the guys that I used to would come over to the house, a writer of my dad's that I would listen to have these conversations, ended up marrying Katie and I in our backyard.
Oh, wow.
And so he's like this really good dude.
Wow.
Written a bunch of books on the ocean. He's a bunch of books on Jacques Cousteau.
Fucking cool.
Really cool guy. His name's Brad Mattson. You could look him up. He's a writer and really amazing guy. We had Katie and I had this thing where nobody could be at our wedding that we hadn't both met. And we wanted Brad to be there. So I invited him to come over. They live up in Port Townsend. And I invited my dad and didn't tell him Brad was going to be here. And so I think it was the last time they made the drive over here. And we sat around and listened to them talk again. And one of the things that Brad kept saying was, look, because all these people had died that they'd known.
Oh, yeah.
And Brad kept saying, how was the out? How was the out?
Oh,
like that was what, like, not that somebody died was the thing, because everybody dies.
Yeah.
But how did he get out? Yeah.
How'd it go?
And that really, like, that stuck with us. Like, we're all like, everyone's gonna die. How was it a brutal out? Like, dude,
real.
My brother-in-law's mom died 3 weeks ago. Okay, and she went to the hospital with a fever on a Friday, and like a week later they were making end of life plans. It was just like this crazy leukemia that went crazy. But you know what? And she was like, I'm not doing treatment. And it took her,
God
like,
bless her.
Totally.
Yeah.
She had a pretty good out.
Yeah, see?
If you got to go, and you do, because don't fool yourself, everyone has to go.
Have you ever had a problem with that? Have you ever dealt with that shit? Mortality?
Well, cancer.
I mean, before that. Sorry, I was thinking mentally before that. Because
did
you ever think about it as a kid, or like how? Like, was there a defense? Because for me, it was hell was always taught so fiercely that you think about death a lot. You think about the end of your life all the time.
I don't think I had that. I mean, my guilt was. It wasn't about going to hell, really. It really wasn't. It was just guilt. I had guilt. That's why I didn't want to use a condom or, have premarital sex. It was guilt. I didn't really visualize heaven or hell as an outcome. It wasn't that. It was just, you're just not supposed to do it. And if you do it, you're a bad person, or whatever that was. So I didn't have any necessity to dwell on it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't always buy the whole thing. I was always because it's Catholics. It's not go read the Bible.
No, that's way cooler.
And old people just, I don't know. It just never stuck. It never, the guilt thing stuck.
Yeah.
But that's not dogma.
No, that's our roles in life. And, it's mighty smart of you if you can look down who you are and play out some of these scenarios and figure out what the wrong ones could be and avoid them, because you might be living a tragedy and you can avoid it. You can avoid it. But, our parents in this mortality, it seems to bring that out. Motherfucking shit. So I bring this up all the time, only because it's so real. But the first time I tried to do this, it was literally like 3 weeks before I saw you and Katie down here that one time when we were COVID bubbles.
Yeah.
We ate 500 milligrams of weed, first kid-free weekend or something like that,
Right.
And I had to talk about this verse because I just wanted to. And it goes as such: "To he who has, even more shall be given, and to he who does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And my family, even though now I can look at it holistically and finally like kind of giggle and laugh about all the cool shit we got to do, like it rained on us just in our house living life. There was no doubt in my mind that my family was different. Very, very different. And a lot of my decisions,
even compared to your
different people,
your fellow parishioners.
Oh yeah, and like, luckily in the coolest way, because you know, essentially my mom and dad are just like, my dad's just the coolest, weirdest Viking fucking dude ever. He's more Danish than he is Norwegian, but
you know,
he's just crazy. And he was this teacher, and he decided that the best thing in life is experience, and that's what he's broke, so instead of leaving a shit ton of money for his kids, he's going to give us all the experiences we could ever imagine before we got 18. And it's true, we built homes, traveled, you know, we went to Mexico and built homes for homeless people every year. You know, it was all religious based, and my mom enforced the religious thing even more, so it became like this as far Baptist as you can go religious based. Like my mom even used to go on like AM radio and talk about like end times and shit. Like, do you know, not Art Bell's cool. Hal Lindsey, I think his name was.
Maybe.
Oh, there's like weird people that she would like go on radio shows with and sit on a panel. She was the secretary of this girl named Dee. So they'd gone to like United Nations talks. So it's essentially my parents are just like really, they walk the walk and they talk the talk. So they believe the Bible is the inerrant word of God and that it was teaching us to prepare for the second coming. And so why would we go to school? So I eat all this weed and I have to deal with this fact that because of this verse of the Bible, I always saw my family as continually losing and that we would never be able to get ahead because we were stuck in that to he who does not have, even what he has will be taken.
You were like, we who do not have.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great spot. Even though it sucked growing up, I have no regrets, you know, like I built my mom 3 homes, you know, and businesses and latte stands, and everyone in my family's pitched in. Since I was 11, I had a job, and since I was 11, I was kicking down money for toothpaste. You know, that's just the way we grew up. But when we moved into that house in Maple Valley, there wasn't even a fucking toilet. We shit in a bucket in sawdust, and then my job was to go dig holes every morning. So we lived like that for 6 months.
I bet you had a sharp shovel.
For real, dude. It sucked. And there was like, I could go on forever. And it actually, I love it. And the weird part is our family's struggle. It was so intense. Like our house was so condemnable.
Right. But what was the do you have a back end on that verse that you've come up with, or are you still thinking your family's just constantly getting things taken away from them because you started with very little?
No, yeah, luckily my family, all of it, like my siblings, pretty brilliant, I think. I'm definitely the black sheep, but like as far as living lives that they want to, they're doing great, especially from where our family came from, grandma, grandpa, I'm speaking of, you know. And I learned a lot about my grandpa actually on this trip because he's a little fucking rogue. Yeah, he looked like Clark Gable. Like, did exactly. He? Oh, dude, he was like crazy.
Your mom's dad?
My mom's dad. He's from the South. Like, he used to have businesses
where
in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had a twin. The twin was the sheriff. Oh, man, I don't even know how much I could tell this. Let's just say that he had 5 kids with a girl, and he was like 20, and she was like 19 by the time they had 5 kids together back then. But also, he has a horse.
Oh, really?
This is 1912.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, so he gets run out of town by her dad in some fashion.
After 5 kids?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. All I know is that my aunts found a letter from this woman, and it was talking about, so apparently she was like beautiful, like the hottest girl in town. and how she wanted to have threesomes with this other girl and him. You know, and these letters are from like you know, the 30s or 40s or whatever. Yeah. And so I think her dad was a religious figure.
Go grandpa. Go grandpa. Go grandpa. It's your birthday.
Well, so he had 5 kids with this woman, and then was either paid to leave by her dad, or the story I got is he got arrested and his brother was a sheriff, and then his brother opened the back door and said, you can run, but as soon as they get here, I got to shoot at you. So you better do it quick. And so grandpa just runs, and I think his name's Jesse, his twin, just shoots him, gets him in the shoulder.
He does not. He shoots him?
Yeah, right in the back.
Stretching the legs. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And
yeah,
did they catch him? Oh.
No, I think this is when he makes it up to North Dakota and meets grandma, and they fell in love. They have like 8 kids. Yeah. They end up, so grandpa was busy.
He's doing the work. Putting in the work.
And like, he was the coolest guy I'd ever met. He was kind of an old potato by the time I got around there. You know, he worked hard construction. And my uncles are hard as fuck. They're bikers, like San Quentin. Did a bunch of time and shit. But my mom.
Isn't it funny how just like one generation ago, people were shooting at people?
And like, you know, basically owning slaves and shit. Like,
well, yeah.
Well, that was 2 or 3, but like, it was not very long ago. We're fixing a lot of fucking problems now.
Oh,
like,
we are?
Yeah, actually, I think we are. I think it's why it looks like this. That's why it's so chaotic. Where everyone's scared because there's too much information. But that'll settle down. Like, what will happen when fucking Fox News gets too crazy? People are gonna realize it and stop watching it at one point. It's gonna happen. Like, we're slowly, very slowly, the battleship's moving in the right direction. I feel it's just hard to do. It's fucking hard to do.
Take your word for it.
I'm being really hopeful because of all this death around me.
It sounds hopeful. I'm not hopeful. I'm not hopeful. I don't know where we're headed, but it seems like the wrong direction. And I don't mean to be a naysayer or a pessimist, because I'm not a pessimist. I think that I have hope. I don't have faith necessarily, but I have hope that but I've had hope. I thought we would be so far, like I was certain, not that I specifically thought about the Supreme Court, and again, this isn't a political thing. It's not what we do here. But the fact that the Supreme Court has just been packed with conservative judges that are all young is unfathomable to me. Like, I thought there was no chance. We were.
What happened to checks and balances?
Well, I mean, what happened to anybody? The game is broken.
Yeah,
the game. It has nothing. We're fucked.
It's time to fix it. No, I mean, there's.
Well, but who's gonna do that? Like, who's gonna who listens? Yeah, maybe. Who listens enough to be a part of fixing?
It's a little bit easier because maybe it just takes a little bit of real money and in the right directions. One of that buddy who was doing the humanitarian aid, he says that 99.9% of every dollar you give goes just to the dude's Hummer. That's like running the organization. And that's true. It's like, we're going to fix that. We're going to figure out a way where we can do real shit, real help. We're going to fix that because, I mean, all of us, because that's how it works. You recycle better. You treat your son or daughter a little bit nicer that day. Understand? Ask someone how they're fucking doing when you walk down the street. It happens here. It's weird. Everyone likes to shit on California, but my neighbors are all like, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. They're all fucking nice as fuck. Yeah. It starts like that.
Okay. I'm backing that. I'm not the people. I'm not worried about the people. I think the people on the ground can do the. I don't know. I'll get.
The government is the whole deal is a little fucked up.
The powers that be have a stranglehold, and now you figure what these guys who are supposed to be right leaning or left leaning, like What, Bezos? He can't fix the whole fucking world. Why not? He's got the whole world's money.
I don't
You
know.
know, all these guys who why aren't they going
I
to
don't know.
Mars?
It's weird.
Why are we going to Mars? Why
I
do we have- how
kind
about
of
we
back
fix the-
that. I totally back that. But you're right. I think we could fix homelessness. I think we could, like,
mental health. How about mental health?
I mean, I think that also might come from this intense game of fucking capitalism, which is open 24 hours a day. That's the problem. Is there's no residual. You can't be yourself and just go out fucking side. You always got to be hustling. You always got to be working. Every Uber driver in LA has 5 jobs. Every podcaster is because they have something else they're trying to fucking rep. All of us are just like too used to it. And it's like that doesn't build the really deep experiences, which is we're so lucky to have got. Dude, I used to think about it like my coolest touring years, there was no iPhone. There was not even called that, so like the coolest LA parties, the coolest this, the coolest that. There was no photographs. And I always felt stupid. I was like, fuck, man. There was some cool shit that happened, And now I'm like, that's
Dude,
rad. It's in there,
I brought disposable cameras when we went on tour with the Cult.
Yeah.
I took selfies. I was the original selfie maker.
Yeah, I
Like,
saw that one
I'll
of you,
bring-
Billy.
Me and Billy. I got one of me and Ian. I got one of
Was he chubby?
Ian.
Do you remember when he started looking like Squire?
No. He was tight. He was tight.
Okay.
He was sober, and they
Yeah.
had just come back, and they hadn't done a tour in a while. And now he looked good. I'll
Fuck yeah.
I'll put some pictures up on the Let's Get High and read the Bible. But yeah. Well, the first tour I ever did. No, not the first one, but like, it was the first one. I was the only one in the van with a phone. Our tour manager didn't have a cell phone, and it was the Nokia little, like, T9. Like it was digital. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no touch screen.
Yeah.
It was just a phone. Yeah.
Do you remember the Sidekick too?
I remember. I never had
That
one.
flip. It had like the flip screen and the full keypad.
Oh, right, and then had the full
rollers on the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to when that came out because I had never had money. I had never gotten paid before, So like when we're out there, it's like, wait, I can buy things, Like it's like I basically just spent like thousands of dollars on plane rides coming back to see my family and stuff. But like, we went to 14 different states in 12 days. I finally found one. I'd gone to as many T-Mobiles as I could trying to find one. And it was the shit. It was the shit. Like we could play Battleship against my friends and other bands. There's this Tom Wilanowski. Do you know that band MXPX? You ever heard of them? So he was on tour, the first person that got me to like drink beer. Because I was like, oh, he's a fucking Christian. He's drinking beer. So.
Nice job, Tom.
Yeah.
Way to do the work.
Thanks, buddy.
Way to get it done.
Yeah, it was really funny. He would text people. He knew some trick on that where it doesn't put your name. You could put whatever name you want so it wouldn't be like Tom. He put God. And he'd always be like, quit playing with your dinghy. It's like he'd always just text me that as God, It was it blew my mind. And then the iPhone came out. And it was the weirdest thing because like the van rides went from being these totally like interactive, like you put on an album, you put on like we'd start every tour listening to one artist's complete works, like Morrissey or like Danzig or like, whatever it might be. Yeah. And you talk and you like fucking, there's all this interaction and then it's just like, just became all right there, And I'm kind of glad it happened without that motherfucking thing there.
We would listen to audiobooks like on cassette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What kind?
My favorite was Into Thin Air. The what's the guy's name? Krakow, the Everest, the Mount Everest tragedy.
Yeah,
he's like going through the whole thing.
Yeah,
so amazing. Yeah.
What a feat! I mean, now it's kind of becoming passé,
but that was the storm that killed like 12 or 13 people, and he just goes back through it, and it's a great book.
Yeah, we did Jerky Boys a lot, to be honest.
Yeah,
we were so juvenile.
Yeah, you're in a band. It's your job.
It was pretty fun.
Arrested
fun.
adolescence.
Yeah. You know, it's funny though, like wherever I was, there'd be like all these tattoo artists. And like, I would always call my mom and I'd be like, hey mom, you know, we're in Washington DC. There's this famous guy here. And he's like, can I get a tattoo? And she'd be like, no. And I'd be like, hey guys, I can't get a tattoo.
My mom said no. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah,
because
right?
you didn't want one. It wasn't because you didn't want one.
No,
Your mom said no.
Yeah, you got to honor your father and mother, you know? And I guess that was with, man, we could bring that all back. That verse, that's why it fucked me up, is, you know, to be honest, my family made a lot of bad decisions together, financially and in all rights and walks, you know, in my opinion. And my opinion, because I was the one that had to do all the work without having any say about anything. I just dug all the ditches and trimmed all the trees, ran all the cable, made all the roofs. Yeah, my brother came along. Eventually, my brother got big enough, and he's a beast. He's a pure beast. So it got a lot lighter. It was helpful.
He's a wee beast,
dude. Yeah, he'll fuck you up.
He's an ant.
It's crazy how strong.
10 times. 10 times.
Yeah, yeah. The last time I tried to mess with him, I put my hand on his shoulder, and he just peeled it away and was like, he goes, "That'll be enough."
I think not.
Yeah, I did. I had to kick his ass to let him know, but yeah, that's not true.
But it wasn't as hard. It wasn't as easy as it used to be.
No, he was always so much. Him and all his friends were so much smarter than me, and I desperately knew it. I was like, "Fuck!" So I never took it to him growing up. Plus, we had it so hard. To be honest, it's like when you have it that hard, and I mean, not in the conventional sense, in the sense that like we don't have enough food. We don't, it rains on you when you sleep in your bed. So just the problems of that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really cold.
Yeah.
I thought God was preparing me to be a missionary in Antarctica.
Thank you for all of this experience you're giving me that I can turn around and use in Siberia.
Yeah. Right. And so that was when then all of a sudden I'm like, take a chance on myself and getting that band. And it was like, I've never been to New York, let alone 35 times, and playing these insane, huge places, and like seeing that many different people who, it's like, your world just goes, it just expanded so much. And it's like, man, I had to, even the pandemic we talk about on the podcast, I still haven't seen some movies. So it's like, you kind of constantly in the fear of being in that have-nots, And I don't know if that's money or, I don't think it's that. I think it's like spiritual vitality or the truth, something like that. I don't know. What makes a good life? It doesn't seem to be any one thing. It seems to be just honestly saying exactly what you think all the time.
Well, but also you have to listen. It's you got to have a balance, and I'm not saying I do this or that I'm good at it or that I have it. It's just like you were saying something earlier about how decisions you made when you were young, or like, oh yeah, we were talking about like, trying to tell people how to live when you're young. And my thought that I didn't finish was that, your brain doesn't finish being mushy and soggy until you're 25. And and before that is when you really think you know what you're doing.
Yep.
And then you spend the rest of your life figuring out you don't know shit.
Feeling pretty embarrassed when you're taking a shower and that one memory pops up of you acting like you know everything at the party.
To anyone, yeah. And now just I don't know how to. I mean, it's not the hardest thing in the world to find a balance, but it's right up there. Like you think you're doing the right thing, so you put a bunch of energy into this thing that you think is a good thing, and then you realize you're ignoring this thing or these two things. And then so you put an array of energy into these three things, and you realize you're not putting energy into the thing that you really thought was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're constantly chasing your tail. And I don't know.
Fuck.
I don't know anybody. Do you know anybody who is just bold-faced happy that isn't financially independent? Like That doesn't have fuck you money.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with their brand of ignorance, but yeah, I think actually, to be honest, most of my friends that are weird people that I've met over the years that have just aged out appropriately, have passed on, have gone out good. Yeah, they didn't have anything more than fucking an average guy. You could, a job. Yeah. $35,000 to $45,000 a year. I don't. I got exposed to rich people for teaching their kids how to play guitar, and a lot of them are amazing. But dude, money is fucking literally nothing. You should figure it out for yourself so you can have whatever life you want, because that's on you. You should have enough fucking discipline to do that. It's hard, but yeah, you got to do it. But like, don't think once you get to the top of any goddamn hierarchy, you're gonna be bummed. They call it imposter syndrome. No, it's not, because headlining that tour or fucking selling out this or that or having your CD, it fucking looks a lot different than you've been imagining. It's like when you get there, it's like, this is it? Almost always.
You're still going to be your same person.
Yes.
Arriving does not garner you the experience that you need to have a happy life necessarily. You're still going to be the same person with the same holes in you that you were before you got there. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't have any answers. Don't listen to me, Leif.
No, I was following it. I was like going down a real slippery slope with you there.
No, well, like these people who get there and then kill themselves. You get your Kurt
absolutely.
The Kurt Cobain, and it's like he's just a junkie who got famous.
Who literally changed every second of my life. Yeah. He literally, the biggest force in my life, period. That one riff, that one song. But like,
so actually what you're saying is Boston changed your life.
Totally. That's 100%. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. But like,
in case not everybody knows, it's more than a feeling, people.
For real.
It's not even the chorus. It's the pre-chorus.
It's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Boston's brilliant.
God bless him.
God bless him, spending 13 years on that shit in the studio. But like, why do people get to the top of these hierarchies and then completely just tap out? They're like, fuck this. Trauma is real. You can't escape anything, no matter what you beat. You got to, like, look at Mike Tyson. I think he's doing a good work. Now he seems to have like been fixing all those.
It's not like it's me. It's not like it's my place to say anything like this, but I'm totally proud of him.
Dude.
It's like I love listening to him talk and being so self-aware now, and like, yeah, he's a specimen of a
human achievement.
He's put in the fucking work. He's looked inside himself and come out the other end a strong person. And not physically strong, not an physically imposing person, but like emotionally and spiritually solid,
stable Yeah, and isn't that all what any of us are trying to do with this? And this idea of this carpenter, this poor individual that gives even his life to save other people, and that's what we're modeling. Like, why don't people live this way? Excuse me. There's so many people call themselves Christians.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, you can call yourself a zebra, but if you don't have the striped coat, man, you're just a horse with an attitude, I guess. A horse in denial.
A horse in denial. A horse with no name. Yeah. I just took a hit. I was trying to get there. So I guess we're gonna have to start defining in the rule. The passing of our parents and this going through this process with them is. Made me kind of think about stuff a lot differently. It's been really fucking weird, right? So you brought up a couple times, like, on here, will doing this, like talking through this shit and doing this podcast, will it change you? I think that's what you asked, something like that. And I had an old friend do the same thing, because I haven't told many. I won't tell anyone about this up there. That's not. They don't have to know. But, he's like, what do you think about Christianity now that you're doing this? And I am like, fuck, man, to be honest. pretty strangely, weirdly open, like compared to how I used to think about like how little I know. Even though I've read, I have these credentials, like, no one gets the joke because no one went. But I memorized four full books of the Bible when I was 14 for that stupid Christian thing. Like this was always my thing, and like, but as an adult coming to it now, and like with you having all this objectivity and where we can bounce off each other ideas, and like, I don't know. It's really fascinating to me, isn't it? Like,
well, I think what we've gotten to this place a couple of times where I just want it. First of all, unlimited content, which is amazing. I really want to. Well, because we'll keep having these life experiences that are gonna, like
fit right in.
That'll break up the not the monotony, but like the flow of going through the verses. But I really think that we should file the paperwork and start an organization, start a tax-free organization that is filed under it as a church. And I think that we should, like we not exactly sure how to say it or how to qualify it, but going through, I just think it's really important if we're going to do this, because we didn't know we just, I love talking to you.
Yeah,
we've always done
what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be a thing that's going to be like documented for posterity, then we may as well be like what do you call it? Putting investments in, investing, making, what do you call when you put money in a bank? You,
Interest?
No, you, good God. I haven't had enough coffee.
Deposit?
We're making deposits. We're making deposits in the future of this thing. Like this is going to someday. This will be a succinct body of work that people can go back through and reference, and
Yeah, you're right. I just read. Yeah, it'll be fun to watch my neuroticism in this. I could tell when I'm sick now between episodes with the pitch high,
really?
high or low my voice is. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But you're right. I didn't mean to derail you.
No,
where you're going is like, I think that I'm really interested in helping homeless people. I'm really interested in helping people, and I have a couple friends that do real work now, and I've been through this, been able to like open up some conversations, and I say we get it lined up. I say we get a church. I say we get some charities. The bullshit. I really love Texas. Like, love it. Love the people there, but I don't know about those laws. So just got.
It seemed like it came from left field there, Leif.
Sorry, I want to do real work, is what I'm saying. We could even edit that out.
Do you want to do it in Texas?
Dude, that fucking abortion shit is ridiculous. I think that's draconian, and it's definitely just a Republican. And we need Republicans. Like, we need them to stop being crazy. We fucking need them. I'm a super liberal, but like, it's not that I don't love some Republicans. They're brilliant.
No, and it's not about that. But Jesus, that's fucked up. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Again, when it's so strange to try to steer around political talk while we're talking about religion, and we're not talking about religion. We're talking about the Bible.
Yeah, because
I think it's different. It's like, and that's why maybe we can be like a sanctuary where it doesn't belong to us. We have this idea, and maybe it will resonate. People want to. I don't know. I don't fucking know, but I do know that the organized versions piss me off and seem to make it hard to find things within yourself as opposed to easy, more difficult than making it easier. So whatever.
Well, I know that we've been in the weirdest situations with the weirdest, like green rooms with rock stars, and this is literally all we talk about. we always talk about weird Bible shit or weird religious shit or weird after market life shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, And like, I hope that with our experiences that hopefully now, even though sometimes we don't read the Bible, like this time we're just fucking grieving, but like,
don't stop
bereaving. But how about that, huh?
So good.
Just because of the Rock and Roki connection to this was so
great.
rough.
That's great.
Oh God.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Where are we?
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, word. But
Don't
let's
stop
talk. Let's do post. So,
Okay.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
Thank you guys so much, especially our listeners overseas, Ireland, Belgium, Germany, Australia, Vietnam, Russia. What's up? Thank you guys so much. We love you all. We'll see you next week.